Hello there, very special good evening to you and welcome to Mr. Chairman, wherever you are in Saint Lucia, from Grosley in the north to VA4 in the south. Let's say a very special good evening to our friends on the eastern coastline right through to the western coastline. I'm David Samuels, Mr. Chairman. Now, on this week's program, we focus on the parking challenges in the city and efforts being made by the Castries Constituency Council to address the problem. Our guests, Jason Hullingseed, Communications Officer, Office of the Mayor, and Alton Stephen, Project Manager, Converge Solutions. Parking terminals are coming to the city soon, which will be installed on the William Peter Boulevard and on nearby streets. We look forward to hearing from you about this matter. It's Mr. Chairman tonight. First, let's welcome our guest. Let's welcome the man from the Castries Constituency Council first.
Hi, thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Dave.
Pleasure.
And I'm Alton Stephen from Converge Solutions, Project Manager. Thank you for having me here.
It's a pleasure to have you both here, and I know you both are very busy men, and so let's get straight into it. Jason, before I can call it Jason, right?
Yes, of course. Of course.
Before we talk about parking, I just have to commend the Castries Constituency Council, that very wonderful function you had on Saturday evening at the Castries City Hall, where you paid tribute to your staff. It was a wonderful, uplifting, positive evening, and I just wanted to take the opportunity this evening to congratulate His Worship the Mayor and members of staff. But perhaps you might want to give us a brief overview. Whose idea was it? I mean, when one considers that the City Council has been around for 50 years,
Right.
coming out of the town board back in the old days, to have done something like that, it just makes you wonder, where have all the other mayors been? And this, I'm in no way trying to demerit
Right.
the mayors of old, but it was just so stark. I mean, when you saw the presentations, and you couldn't help as being a member of the audience, but why hasn't this occurred before?
Right. Well, collectively, I mean, management, along with the mayor, came up with the idea, and it fell as part of our 50th anniversary calendar of events. So we had events as far back as February of this year. And this was just part of the activities where we, choose to recognize the outstanding work of the team members. So we're looking at over 50 team members were awarded, varying categories, looking at Employee of the Year, Manager of the Year, Supervisor of the Year, Most Outstanding Employees, and, the list goes on. So it was a collective effort, but as always, the mayor, he directs, and we follow his vision as well. So that was part and parcel in line with what he wanted to do for team members. So
You got an award. Speak to us about
surprisingly, Manager of the Year.
that. Yes.
Manager of the Year. So thanks a million. So I believe that from what he stated whilst addressing the audience, over the year, you've seen the transformation of the Castries Constituency Council, and you've seen the transformation of his office. And, behind the scenes, I work the magic in the media, to get all the information out there. So I believe I worked hard.
So you call that magic, eh?
Yeah, magic.
And you got to take a big fat check. Was it 25 grand or something like that?
No, some peanuts. man.
Peanuts. So it wasn't 25 grand.
No, it was actually 2,500.
So I got the figure.
Yeah,
Okay,
you got it mixed up.
I got it
So
all mixed up.
It's
All right.
$2,500.
Have you spent it yet?
Not as yet. Not as yet. Yes, but let me take the opportunity to thank the mayor, of course, for his approval and his nod for that event, and to thank the entire committee which worked behind the scenes, to make that event happen.
No, it's just
Saturday,
absolutely amazing, that, and I have to go back to what I said previously. Here you have a city council that has been around for such a long time, and all of a sudden there is such a lot of attention being paid to that institution, and it's just transformational. That's the word I was looking for.
Right.
It's just amazing.
Right. Because you see, Dave, when I got the opportunity to work with His Worship Mayor Francis.
Does he like himself being called that? Does he like being called that? His worship?
I think he goes with the flow.
It sounds sort of English.
Yeah,
sort of archaic. What I mean? It sounds, his worship sounds like he's an archbishop or something like that.
But I mean, he goes with the flow, and it is owed. It is owed to him. I mean, that's what it is. So, I mean, a lot of brouhaha, was made about the position, and me being there with him and job for the boys and whatnot. But
they politicized it?
Yes, of course, to a large extent.
I wasn't too aware of that.
Yeah, to a large extent. And when you sit and you sort of reminisce, and you sort of draw your thoughts and everything else, one would try to understand the vision and direction of someone. So being that Mayor Francis is a visionary leader, and the direction that he wanted to take with his office and council, there was obviously the need for a communications manager, and that is why I came in. So a lot of noise, was made, but I'm happy now that persons are able to sit back and realize the reason for it, and there was a need because of the amount of work that council is doing and the mayor is doing with his office.
Just before I go to Alton, I know there are a lot of French people in today, from Martinique. Speak to that for just a few.
Right. Well, they actually here for a function, and part of it was an official visit, to Mayor Francis. So they came in this afternoon. We had a nice welcome cocktail for them. They spent some time with him, dialogue and everything else. And there's another function tomorrow evening and on Saturday evening where they will be meeting with some other ministers. But it is part of the trip we took. We went to Martinique earlier this year, right? In terms of forging the relations and keeping those relations open. So that is part of those cordial relations.
I noticed too that there seems to be a very good relationship with many of the foreign diplomats. I saw them, really into Saturday's event, right up front, and being really, really part of it in a very, very strong way. Mm-hmm. That is quite significant.
Right, very much so, Dave, because we believe that to make things happen, it is not just about council. There needs to be involvement, with all the diplomatic corps. We need to bring in everybody on board to achieve what we want to achieve. So from taking office, Mayor Francis thought it necessary that we keep relations, closer ties with those diplomats. So we've always invited them to functions.
Very good.
We always, consult with them. We always at meetings with them to see how best we could better the city of Castries, what they can bring to the table. So that's the kind of relationship we have, and so much so. Let's take for instance Cuba. What the ambassador for Cuba, have promised in terms of, the material that will sort of get rid of the rodents in the city, right? And also, we're looking at scholarships and whatnot. In terms of Taiwan, we've maintained that close tie with the ambassador, and next week there will be a check presentation, which will go to lighten up the city for festivals of lights.
Wow.
and getting some of the decor and elevating that aspect. So I mean, it pays off, and we just want to maintain the relationship with those ambassadors and try as best to develop what we're doing in the city of Castries.
Wonderful. That already sounds. I'm very excited already. Christmas is still for me one of the most wonderful times of the year. And what is Christmas without bright lights in the city? And in the recent years, the lights have not been too much to speak of, really. So you were saying that it's going to be a lot brighter this year?
It will be. That is the aim.
That's
we've met with
That's good.
the team that over the years have been charged with that responsibility, and the theme we're looking at this year is a Creole Christmas theme. So persons would be seeing, apart from the Christmas trees and whatnot, will be seeing a lot of madras and a lot of our sack material. So we're trying to marry the Creole element and Christmas with the decor in the city this year. So
Sounds good.
we're really trying to take it up a notch this year.
That's great. I really look forward, and I'm quite sure our viewers, we all are excited already, aren't we? So that is really something to look forward to. Alton, Stephen,
Yes, sir.
project manager. First, a little bit about you. Just before we came here, folks, I was reminiscing back in the days when I used to be PR entertainment director of Cunard Le Talk. I remember Alton as a little fella coming there on behalf of Cable and Wireless to take care of the telephone component, the telephone. There were issues sometimes, but so he was always in and out. And I lost track of him over the years, obviously. And clearly he's made a lot of money over the years. He looks like a very affluent guy, no doubt about that. Very, very affluent. And I know you have quite a bit of history. Perhaps you might want to trace that for us just a bit.
Okay.
And you are sniggering. That's good.
You still got a good memory, eh?
Yes, I do. I hope I never lose it. That would be disastrous if I ever did.
Yeah. So my introduction into technology was through Cable and Wireless. I did enter way back 1980 out of A-level college, and then from there got some training done with Cable and Wireless. I came back, and then 9 years later I left again, went off to university, returned, and between the space of 1980 and early 90s, we saw the technology change from electromechanical exchanges and what do you call it, troposcatter scatter of radio frequencies.
Oh my God.
Yeah. To
Troposcatic?
Yes.
How do you spell that? Do you know the spelling?
Yes, I do. We won't go into that now. But anyway, and then in the 90s, we moved to what we call digital microwave links that linked the islands from South America all the way to North America. And also the technology changed from electromechanical to digital as well. So where we had that exchange on corner Miku and Nabi Street,
Oh yes.
right, with the operators upstairs.
Yes.
We then Cable Wireless moved that heartbeat of the exchange to Saint Lucia. The building is still there. And I myself moved on with the technology from Saint Lucia to a regional position where I virtually still navigate the world with Cable Wireless. And then I came back to Saint Lucia, went off to Cayman Islands, and I'm back in Saint Lucia, joined with my ex-colleagues of Cable Wireless Terence Elliott and Bernard Smith, and came into Converge Solutions Inc. And we are a company that delivers ICT services, solutions along that field. So in that space where we were telecoms trained, the telecoms we saw evolve, revolution. There's an evolution in the technology which evolved from just not only telecoms, as we know, the basic pick up your phone and dial, to data telecoms, which is really what the internet world works with, right? And then all our, our voice communications was also digitalized and is now on the data communication network. So we've seen that change, and the internet has actually helped it go in leaps and bounds, where you can go on your computer, you can do a Skype call, you can do a FaceTime, a Viber. There are all these applications where you can communicate. And I remember reading in 1988 in an article where it was actually mentioned then, a call to anywhere in the world will cost you just as much as it will cost to do a local call, which it is today. So we've seen technology move in the last 30 years in leaps and bounds, and where we find ourselves now is finding solutions using the technology to make life easier, and we can provide that locally for a local company.
What has surprised you most about the advancements that have been made, technologically speaking? Because we were speaking just prior to coming live on air, and you agreed that it's been absolutely extraordinary.
Exactly.
That we have just grown by leaps and bounds,
Because I remember when I was doing my studies at university, I was actually, my area of specialty was electronics and telecommunications. Yeah. And what we saw at university was a lot of R&D work, things that were coming, what the future was, what we were going to be exposed to in the future. And from the 90s, from 1990 to 2000, right, which was the change of the millennium youth, everybody was talking about the millennium bug, right?
Because and the crash,
and computers,
yes,
and computers were developed since way before that. I mean, I think probably 70s. I mean, when it became a consumer product, computers, that was like in the late 70s, early 70s. Anyway, and think of it, when it came to year 2000, the computers were never programmed to accommodate 2000. So that was the millennium bug. But from 2000 to the next 10 years, in that period of time, we got aware of the internet. And sure, it started out very small, because I remember we talking about the buzzword was www, World Wide Web, everything's on the World Wide Web. And today, I mean, it's ubiquitous.
Ubiquitous.
That's the word. It's everywhere, right? And we can talk. If you've got a friend in Australia, you can talk to them from Saint Lucia on WhatsApp or the Skype.
That's right.
Right, and it's all due to the internet. Right, so we've got a lot of technology out there. It's how we actually take that, embrace it, and use it to better our circumstances, our lives, the way we do our business, and the way we manage.
So what has surprised you the most about the advancement in tech? Give me one.
I think the internet, the way it has grown, and it has crossed, cultures, businesses. The internet would be the one thing, yes.
Do you want to tell us a little more about Converge?
Yes, sure. Converge Solutions Inc. is a Saint Lucian company, solely owned by Saint Lucians. We are all came from the school of cable and wireless, all right, and we saw the need after cable and wireless changed its business format or its strategy. A lot of cable and wireless employees had to what call it our cheese got shifted, right? And so out of that there was opportunity, because the experience that we gained, we saw how we could apply it in businesses, and businesses still needed the services that cable and wireless was
Precisely.
offered. And we came into the market as an option to cable and wireless, and cable and wireless also shifted the services, some of the services that would offer to customers, where they was starting, like, you could now, I mean, some of it even got commercialized. You no longer had to come to cable and wireless to get a PBX or a phone. You can see today a mobile phone, you can get it other places. So this is where the businesses, when we left, this is where the businesses started in offering those commercial or enterprise solutions for businesses, first in telecoms, right? And then as the environment got more computer based, to keep it simple, right? The hardware, we also got involved with that, because these are the things that we are actually using and familiar with data networks. So we started applying, providing data network services.
You were telling me before we came on live, your involvement, your company's involvement with World Cup cricket.
Yes, one of the major projects that Converge Solutions embarked on was they were the service provider, the outsourced company that provided all the data telecoms, the infrastructure for all the broadcasting and whatever needed to be done for the mass media. Yeah. So we set up that infrastructure to make.
Sort of time consuming, right?
It does involve a lot of
days,
resources.
weeks.
Yeah, it was an arduous process, but we had everyone there that actually set up the network for it to work.
Locally.
We're local.
Wow.
So we have the resources there.
Amazing.
People just don't realize that we
Well,
can do these things.
Well, let's hope that after tonight, a lot more people will be informed. Let's talk about what is going to be happening in Castries very soon, and perhaps Jason, you can take over from here. We've heard for quite some time. In fact, when the mayor was here with Ms. Cauldron a few months ago, that has been one of his pet projects. He was talking about the parking situation in Castries, which is really, in my view, an embarrassment and very, very depressing. And clearly something has to be done, and done very quickly. And lo and behold, I had thought perhaps it was not going to. You know, sometimes when you hear officials speak, it takes 2, 3, 4, 5 years to become a reality. Lo and behold, I understand the moment is here, and that is why this gentleman, Converge, is going to be involved in that. But surely the contact, give us a sense as to your relationship with him. How did that come about?
Right. Well, Converge Solutions is the company responsible for procuring the parking terminals. What we're about to implement, paid on-street parking. So the proposal was submitted to His Worship the Mayor. There were other proposals, and of course they won the bid.
So there was a bidding process.
Yes, basically.
Okay.
Right. So this is where the relationship was born, and we've been in dialogue since then, having regular meetings and trying to roll out that project, together. So they're the ones responsible for procuring the equipment, and in terms of the functionalities, the operational systems, like Alton was saying earlier on, the whole ICTs pertaining to the parking terminal. That is where they come in.
And give our viewers a sense as to why has that, although I may have given a viewers a sense as to how people in Castries feel,
the
particularly
reason.
motorists. You know, how a lot of motorists, the Castries is so dysfunctional. It is a dysfunctional city.
It is, Dave.
It is a dysfunctional city.
and
There's no doubt about it.
When we look at the problem, I mean, every problem leads to another. Let's take for instance the William Peter Boulevard. You have gorilla parking in that area.
That's how you call it.
And yes, that's Convergence term.
Yeah, to be kind.
Yes, it is, Dave. So you have
I've learned something today.
you have fly by night and fly by day parking wardens. You know, who
Self-proclaimed.
Yes, self-proclaimed. You know, I'm not against, but you know who charges $5 to give you a parking lot. Then you have the other streets in Castries. Those streets are hogged. From as early as 6 a.m. Till 7 p.m. by business houses. And persons come into Castries very early in order to secure a parking spot. And on the other hand, you have business houses in the city losing business because a lot of customers no longer want to come into Castries to conduct business. Everyone heads to the north.
True.
You understand?
True.
So we have that problem, and while there are like, okay, there's the one parking the waterfront parking, right? There's
yes.
right.
Yeah.
There's this parking, and there are other makeshift little parking
All over the
spaces
place.
all over the place and whatnot. But this cannot take away from the major problem where persons park on double yellow lines, persons park on all streets in Castries, and you see what is taking place. So it's become that big problem that we need to deal with. We need to deal with, and it needs to be done urgently now. I know that there was a timeline in terms of the implementation of that project, but there is more behind the scenes than we thought. It would have been. It was not that easy to roll out a project of that magnitude. Although we had set timelines on the implementation. So first we spoke of the first quarter of this year, and then we spoke of the second quarter of this year, right? But we need to take into consideration the level of consultation that needs to be done, as well as the changes to the legislation, which is so very important in terms of the Traffic Act. There needs to be change to that legislation so that we could now come in and implement, and there would be a smooth transition into that project. So where we're at now, we're on the ground consulting with the various associations. We've met with quite a number of them. We've met with the Bar Association. We've met with the National Council on Public Transportation. We've met with the Chamber of Commerce. We've met with quite a number of them. All right, the taxi associations that operate within the city of Castries, those who operate the minibuses, and consultation continues, right? And thereafter, we're hoping to launch the public education campaign thereafter.
Okay. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll take our first break, and when we come back, we will speak to Alton about, get his views on on this sophisticated piece of equipment and how it is going to transform parking in the Castries Basin, in Castries City. So you are viewing Mr. Chairman. I'm David Samuels, and I'm here with Mr. Jason Hullingseed, Communications Officer, Office of the Mayor, and Alton Stephen, Projects Manager, Converge Solutions Incorporated, Inc. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Good.
Why is the e-fuel card becoming so popular?
The e-fuel card is becoming very popular because it's the cheapest way of buying fuel. Users of the e-fuel card at this Ruby station on Lance Road and the Salt Service station on Manuel Street will get back 30 cents on every gallon of fuel purchase, and that can be used towards any subsequent purchase of fuel.
How do you get money on the card?
It's as simple as using your card to purchase fuel. You hand over the amount of money you desire to put on the card and the card to the cashier, and the card is topped up accordingly. All of this happens in a matter of seconds. The fuel card can only be used for the purchase of fuel. Initially, the cards are given for free. However, any replacement of the card will cost the consumer $20. The e-fuel card can be obtained at the Ruby service station on Lance Road, the Salt service station on Manuel Street, the Uranora service station in Viewfort, and Jamari & Sons offices on Lance Road.
Casabella, we know how to split in the middle, and we're doing it this year with a store-wide sale of 40 to 50% off. Choose from a wide selection of comforters and bedsheets, 50% off. Kitchen mats, 50% off. Towels and stainless steel pots and pans, 40% off. And the best quality rugs you'll find in stores at 50% off. It's the craziest pre-Christmas sale that you've been waiting for. Shop now and save 40 to 50% off on all your favorite housewares. Offer ends till stocks last. Casabella, a store created with you in mind, exclusively at Baywalk. Sale starts Thursday, October 26th.
This Christmas will be your best ever with fixed, hassle-free 24-hour approval of loans at relatively low interest rates. Get your new furniture and appliances, quick home repairs, and gift purchases. All customers who participate in our Christmas promo qualify for a chance to win in our year-end draw. First prize, 1-core i5 laptop with all the bells and whistles. Second prize, 1-core i3 laptop. And third prize, 1 iPad. Call or visit us at number 15 Bridge Street, Castries, telephone 458-8700, or Providence Commercial Building, Rodney Bay, telephone 458-8740. Offer ends December 31st. Fix, a company you can trust.
Mango plus clothing plus sale equals what? Answer 50% off. Shop at Mango and save up to 50% off. Ladies casual tops were $30, now $15. Working tops, long and short sleeves, ladies jeans, working skirts, and more. Remember, it's all going at 50% off and more. For the men, plaid shorts were $45, now $22.50. Men's hoodies, 3/4 jeans, long skinny jeans, and plaid shirts were $35, now $17.50. It's all going down at Mango Sportswear on Miku Street, Castries. 50% off and more now until stocks last.
My name is Matthew Anderson, and I'm part owner of an amazing tea company called the Enchanted Kettle, where we make 100% authentic Saint Lucian teas. We are located in Rodney Bay in Ridgely Park. That's where we have our processing plant and everything. We buy from the farmers, fair trade. We source the best herbs. We go out, we look at the farms, and we make sure that these farms are grown in such a way that there is no pesticides, leakage, and so on. And we take them in, we process it for natural means. We wash them, and we sort out the best leaves. We do a natural drying process, and from that we go to the grind. We make sure we grind down to 60 to 70 granules, and we store it, and then we take it down further when we're ready to bag it. We see the tea all the way through from the start, from the time we receive the herbs, all the way to the finish. We do not have any kind of conveyor belt mechanisms. Everything is done in right step-by-step semi-automatic machines, so So we make sure we get a good product from start to end. We can see the product, we handle it. The boxes, all our products are 100% from white stock. We print. We use a tapestry of paintings which we commission ourselves. They're acrylic paintings, and we transfer them to the box. The reason for that, we're saying that tea is art and art is tea.
When I'm with you, all I get is wild thoughts.
Hello there, welcome back. I'm David Samuels, Mr. Chairman, and if you've just joined us, thank you very much for taking time off to attend our meeting this evening. And this evening, we are talking to Mr. Jason Hullingseed, Communications Officer, Office of the Mayor, and Alton Stephen, Projects Manager, Converge Solutions, Inc. And we are talking about the situation of parking in St. Lucia. There is going to be quite a transformation in the coming months, and these two gentlemen are here to talk about that. It's very, very interesting times in St. Lucia, and I'm quite sure at some point in time you're quite free to give us a call and you can pose questions to our two esteemed guests this evening. So, Mr. Stephen, this is quite a big project, and I thought as concisely and articulately as possible, try to give our viewers some indication as to what this project involves, and do it in such a way that the most ordinary of us, the most ordinary man or woman viewing us, will be able to comprehend it.
Okay. So,
because I know you guys in high tech, and I know that always tends to create a problem for the ordinary man in the street.
yeah, there's that challenge how we relate to the layperson.
Yes.
Right, but faced with the challenge of the parking when we are reviewing the situation and what we are faced with, I mean, we came up with the 3 ways that it can be done. And parking is not unique to St. Lucia or Castries. The parking situation exists everywhere else.
That's true.
Right? Now, the thing is that we've grown accustomed to certain things in our community, and we expect it will always
remain the same.
Right? We were looking at 3 main areas of how to improve the parking situation in Castries. One, where we could acquire land and build a multi-level facility like we have in Conway, right? Acquire land, vast amounts of land, and have like a car park, extensive, right? And then the third is to use the existing spaces on our streets, which we do have streets and parking zones on our streets, and use these spaces, right? Now, whichever option was decided or could be considered, you needed to have some form of a machine or device where you can actually accept payments or issue a ticket like currently exists at the Conway car park. And we know, like, for example, just using Uranora car park, when you enter, you issue the ticket, right? And when you leave, you pay the time. Same thing that happens at the Conway. Now, for on-street parking, traditionally, it started off with parking meters, and that's what has been used for years. And with the event of technology being concise and minuscule as it is, that can fit in some of these meters, the existing meters that were actually transformed, or what you call reconfigured, right, to accommodate electronics so they can issue tickets, right? Now, for us here, if we're using that approach, it means that we'll have to have a parking meter for each space, right? To serve each space. We found out, or we counted about 900 spaces in Castries City. Yeah.
900 spaces.
Yeah, 900 spaces.
In Castries
Yes,
City.
that means 900 cars are parked every day in Castries.
Wow.
Yeah.
As many?
Well, that's on street. That's a legal.
On street parking.
On street parking. Not the.
That does not include Derek Walker Square.
Well, yeah, include that.
It does. Okay.
But not the off-street parking like in. You see some areas like Ferrans Dairy, Victoria Street and Manners. It doesn't include those, right? So, imagine acquiring 900 meters. So there's a cost there, astronomical cost.
Of course.
So the other option is that we could have still done on-street parking, but what we selected were now, like I say, technology evolves, terminals, right? And these terminals serve multiple spaces. And what these terminals do, or the way they function, is like similar to when you enter Conway or the airport facility, that you will get a ticket from those machines, those terminals. But in this case, for the on-street parking, what this terminal is going to do, you're going to prepay your time.
Prepay?
Yeah. So you know you're going to be there for 2 hours?
Okay.
You pay for 2 hours. You're going to be for 1 hour? You pay for 1 hour. If you're going to be there for 12 hours, you pay for 12 hours. But you don't have a terminal at every space. So it can service, that terminal can service up to as many spaces as you so desire. What the motorist has to do is to park first, go to the terminal, put in his money or their money, and then you pay for the time that you expect to be there. So what CCC has gone with is on-street parking using these terminals.
So what happens if the time is exhausted? You know, I want to go to a meeting, which is going to be about an hour and a half, perhaps 2 hours. And for some unforeseen reason, the meeting has lasted a lot longer. So I come back 2 hours later. What happens?
Okay, so here's how it works. This is what we adopted, and we had an extended discussion as to which mode of operation we'll choose. And what we do, you're going to go to the terminal. You will first enter your license plate number, then get your money, right? I'm sorry, put in your money and get your ticket.
Now the money could be in what forms? Coins?
Okay, so it's EC dollars only.
EC dollars only.
And we've restricted it to quarters, 25 cents, the dollar coin, $5 banknote, $10 and $20 banknote. All right? So we limited to those, so it will accept these coins. If you put in something else, it will be rejected. All right? So using that now, so once you've got your ticket, you will then display it on your dashboard, all right, of your car. Right? That helps the traffic wardens, so they know this is the vehicle that has paid and it's in this space. Okay. Now you go to your meeting. It's extended. So let's say, where would you park? You park on Miku Street, for example, and you've gone to the bank, one of the banks in the boulevard, right? And then your meeting is prolonged. You can do one or two things. You can get out of go to another, there'll be terminals located throughout the city, right? So you can go to the nearest terminal to you, right? Put in your number, put in your money, right? And you now have a ticket that you've purchased additional time. Because the ticket will say to you when it's issued, the time of expiration.
Okay.
All right? Now, the thing about it now, you don't have to go back to your car and put that ticket
On
back,
the dash, on the
back on the dashboard. You
okay.
don't have to. You
Okay.
can keep it. The parking wardens will be walking around with tablets, right? And they can actually interrogate on the tablet to see if this vehicle is valid for the parking that's there. If it's not, then there are consequences, of course. So this is what we're using the technology, right? And how this is done, these tablets are going to be used in the mobile network to interrogate the system that manages these terminals to see if cars are valid. The other situation may arise where, say you put in like 3 hours, you purchase 3 hours of parking. So you're on Miku Street, all right, you've got extra time and you want to go to, say, at the street, Labrie Street, and you get there's parking, because you still have time on your ticket, you can just park. You don't have to buy another ticket.
Wow.
It's still valid. It's still valid. So it will help. And the thing is that the thinking is that the on-street parking is short-term parking. You don't expect people to stay
Whole day.
But you can do it. You
Yes.
can do that. You can
Yes.
do that. The
Yes.
CCC is not going to lose because you got to pay for the entire day, right? So I mean, once you're valid for your parking, you're good to go.
So you mentioned coins.
Yes.
Dollar coins, $5 bill notes, $10 and $20.
Yes.
You didn't say anything about credit cards, debit cards, but for example.
Not initially.
Not initially, but it is something that is.
But it can. These machines are so versatile that you can reconfigure them to accept credit cards, smart cards, vouchers. And we hope that in time, since everyone has a mobile phone, you can actually put the code, your Q card, your scanning card, send it to somebody's mobile phone, and they can use it against the machine and scan.
Wow.
So this is not for, but because we are still cash oriented for now, still very much cash, because the thinking is to go cashless, right? And we have configured the terminals to accept vouchers as well in this initial stage, because the thinking is that, say, certain businesses may want to encourage your customers to come in. So you come in and you make a purchase, you support the business, and the owner may want you to return, and they'll issue you a voucher card saying, next time you return, here's a card. You get an hour free parking, compliments. So you can come in and do the shopping. Or a client, for say one of the businesses, be it we have lawyers, a lot of lawyers in town, they can issue those vouchers to their clients. So say, here's your voucher for an hour's parking, come in and see us. So when they come, the vouchers will be accepted at the machines. You issue a ticket, put it on your dashboard, and you've got an hour.
Wow, that's amazing.
So
I'm just
so all of these
I'm
things
just so excited already.
This is why when we presented to the mayor, and Jason was also present, they were of course very elated and seeing that it's not an impossible feat. It's a way of managing the traffic in Castries City. And once you get paid parking, which you'll see and notice in other areas, you don't have that traffic congestion as you currently have, because most of it is created by persons circulating, looking for a free spot or waiting for somebody to get out of a free spot before they park. I mean, there's a lot of things that have to be taken into consideration to revisit the traffic flow in Castries, and some of the suggestions we've made and tabled, and it's all being put together. So yes, we are providing the technology, but we also look at the impact of introducing this technology, because it's going to change a mindset of persons. Some will embrace and some will complain, which we've seen,
Right.
And this is where, as a project manager, my role becomes very important, because I've got to look at the impact on anything that you're rolling out, especially in technology and the risks associated with it, and the things that we have to take in place. And sometimes in meetings we have this discussion with the mayor and his team. Jason is very, vocal. He's always heard, and we embrace, we listen, and help, see how we can get this thing out, as smoothly as possible. Sometimes we have challenges in a couple areas because we are learning as we go along. The team is new at the Castries Constituency Council, and it's, we see it as a nice project.
Oh yeah, it definitely is.
We have to look at, the feedback because, for example, the Derek Walcott Square, the tenants there have been, I found out, have been there for like forever, over 20 years. And to have them change and say, oh, every day you come in, I'm going to pay. It's like somebody like, why? I've been paying all this time, right? And it's, so these are things that you have to take into consideration. And the CCC, that's what they're doing, and we're seeing how we can adapt and make sure the technology is configured to suit.
Okay, what we'll do right now, we will play you, we have on standby, we have a video which does what?
It shows the terminal being used in, it's a UK company, English company that we procured from.
Okay.
So it's going to show you, recognize the English environment, but the functionality, you will see. And also to make mention that these terminals, we've got over average 12 hours of daylight. These terminals are solar powered.
Wow.
Yeah, which is in keeping with the whole philosophy of what CCC is trying to do and embracing renewable energy.
Fantastic, fantastic. Okay, so let's put on that video and then we will discuss what we've seen after, and we will open the lines and give our viewers the opportunity to quiz our interviewees here about the new parking system coming to Castries City in a few weeks' time, in a couple of months' time. So let's go on to that video right now. Roll the tape, man. Roll the tape. We do apologize about that. Just a slight problem. We're trying to sort it out, and as soon as we do, we will be very, very happy to play it for you. Our apologies. These things do occur from time to time. You do understand that, don't you? I'm quite sure you do. But Jason, this is quite an amazing development. I really can't wait to see it become a reality.
Right.
I mean, just listening to Alton speak about it, it really, this is the modern era, it's just...
Very much so, Dave, and what we're trying to do is to change a mindset, to change a culture, and it is very difficult to do so in Saint Lucia. So hence the reason why, we're still doing a lot of consultations and stuff before we head to the massive education plan. But it is indeed something that all the associations and all the stakeholders that we've met with embraced. Some had, the issues and whatnot, but everyone, of course, we've met with have, commended council for that approach. given what takes place in the city where parking is concerned.
How long is that going to take to put together? Is it an exhaustive period of time, or first, how many terminals are you going to?
Okay, so good question.
Yeah.
So what we did was we've got some constraints, so we've going to use a phased approach in the implementation and focus on the center, the city center, where the problem is more
Acute.
Acute, yeah. So you're looking at the Boulevard, Bridge Street, Miku Street, Labrie Street, Pena Street, High Street, and Bourbon Street around the square, the Eric Walcott Square. So, and also there's West Hall Street, that one behind.
Yes.
Ajura,
Yes.
right?
Behind. I know where.
That little.
No, behind
Behind Gaties.
Behind Gaties, right.
Yeah, Judah Buildings.
Yeah,
Yeah, just off from. So that we starting at the center, and we're gonna initially roll out 10 terminals. Mind you, the bus stands as they stand will remain in that location as they are for now, because we still are working out the logistics. CCC still with the Ministry of
Transport
where we're gonna locate. There's already a plan in place, but it's the time. Like I say, we've got constraints. So, yeah, initially 10 machines will be placed around the city of Castries.
What about the issue, as you walk around Castries, you recognize that there are a lot of reserved parking, a lot of yellow lines everywhere. Are those yellow lines still going to be there, or it'll be a whole new dispensation?
It will be a new dispensation, Dave. We've met with the Transport Board. Of course, we've tabled our own concerns with that, what you made mention of, and also regarding the loading zones, right, within the city. So what we know is that there's a new thrust to carry out a massive road painting exercise. So some of the pedestrians, there would be they're looking at a lot more pedestrian crossings. They're looking at proper road marking and signage, and we know that will be part and parcel of it. What we know is that one loading zone, it